Don't worry, she won't wake up for a while. We have 2 bedrooms in the suite, so there's no way she'll find out. Really? Then we have to enjoy ourselves to the fullest. After enjoying the dinner at the hotel on the eve of my wedding, I woke up engulfed in intense sleepiness, only to find my husband, James, in the midst of an affair with a woman named Alyssa. Clutching my aching head, I desperately tried to gather evidence. I was infuriated to discover that James had been cheating on me while pretending to work overtime. I couldn't forgive him. He thought he could get away with it and quietly let the wedding and honeymoon pass. I decided to create and execute a plan that would put James and his mistress in the most embarrassing situation possible. I, Kathy Stewart, a 38-year-old municipal office worker and the protagonist. Living a routine life of work and home, I found it hard to encounter new people. Until now, I lamented the lack of opportunities and interests. However, a friend introduced me to a man named James Stewart. Kathy, I like you. Please go out with me. Me? Oh, definitely. I'd be delighted. Although I didn't find him particularly handsome or my type, his sincerity attracted me, and we started dating. I thought I would never meet someone who loved me so much for who I am. As our relationship was aimed at marriage, James had already arranged everything for the wedding and honeymoon. But the troubles that arose with the bookings are unforgettable. James was a bit careless with money and often failed to prepare payments on time for the wedding venue and travel agency. He always made excuses and did nothing unless I prompted him. You need to deposit money in the account for the payments to go through. I've told you several times to do it before the deadline, haven't I? I couldn't help it. I didn't have time to go to the bank because of work. Then you should have discussed it in advance. Or transferred the money online. Why didn't you consult with me? I'm swamped with work before the wedding and honeymoon. I'm not as free as you are. Despite occasional disputes, we somehow managed the preparations. As the wedding approached, the final arrangements, including guest lists, gifts, and menu confirmations, became intense. Sometimes, I had to go to the venue for meetings, which often didn't go smoothly because James would cancel at the last minute, citing work reasons. I ended up making decisions alone, which felt a bit lonely. You've been working late a lot recently, especially on days we had plans. And you come home late. I have a lot to wrap up at work since we'll be away for the wedding and honeymoon. It can't be helped. If you tell me in advance about the unavoidable work and overtime, we could reschedule our meetings. Is that too difficult? It's not always possible to know in advance, and some things just can't be helped. Lately, he's been returning home late at night without contact, citing overtime, but his salary hasn't increased much. Suspicious, I looked at his payslip and noticed something odd. His overtime hours were in single digits. Looking at this payslip, you only had 7 hours of overtime last month? Yeah. So? But last month, you canceled our wedding meeting 4 times due to overtime. And you came home after I slept almost every day. Isn't 7 hours of overtime strange? Are you doubting me? It's not about doubt. But it's strange to have such little overtime despite working late every day. That's impossible. You never worked as a company employee. So you don't understand. Maybe, but single-digit overtime hours still seem odd. So what? You want to complain to my boss on my behalf? Ridiculous thoughts, it's irritating. He angrily left the room, slamming the door. I'm sick of this. I don't even want to see your face anymore. I wanted to discuss our honeymoon plans and sightseeing. As I stared at the door James left through, I heard a notification sound. My phone is always on silent mode, so it must be James's work phone. On the table, James's work phone, without a cover, displayed a visible screen. Did James leave his work phone here? Wait, what's this message? I froze as I saw the message notification displayed on the unadorned, simplistic lock screen of a work phone that didn't even have a protective cover. It was a message that didn't seem work-related at all. The message, registered under the name Alyssa, read, "I want to go on a trip." The casual, informal tone of the message gave me a bad feeling. It was a work phone, so it could be a colleague or someone related to work. But the content suggested otherwise. The nature of the message was suspicious, but I couldn't access the contents due to the lock. I decided to forget about the message for now and focus on the wedding and honeymoon preparations. Despite the chaos, I remember feeling relieved when all the wedding preparations were finally complete. The wedding is finally the day after tomorrow. I'm also excited about staying at the hotel the night before. Yeah, let's make it a great ceremony, just like us. Our wedding ceremony was to be held at a hotel, and as a special planned benefit, we were allowed to stay in an exclusive suite the night before. Both James and I took the day off to prepare, so we headed to the hotel in the afternoon. We took a leisurely bath and then went to the top-floor restaurant for dinner. It's wonderful that we get to stay in a suite as a special benefit for having our wedding at the hotel. Yeah. Sorry for leaving most of the preparation to you, Kathy. It's okay. You seemed busy with work. And the planner did a great job, so it all worked out, right? It had been a while since James and I had the chance to have a leisurely conversation. I realized we hadn't had much time together due to our busy schedules. Kathy, I remember you being quite demanding, but that planner was amazing. She managed to incorporate your requests while preparing everything so well. Demanding? Well, I do appreciate her help. It would have been tough without her. We arrived at the restaurant and took our seats. As we enjoyed the exquisite dishes, I noticed James's glass was empty. What would you like to drink next? Not sure. Oh, Kathy, is that a stain on your sleeve? Maybe sauce? James pointed at the sleeve of my dress. What? Oh no. Maybe it's from the dressing earlier. I hope it doesn't stain. If it's oil, it might stay. Better go clean it off quickly, especially since you're taking that dress on the honeymoon. All right, I'll be right back. Fortunately, I had brought a stain remover just in case. I hurried to the restroom to check my sleeve. Huh? There's no stain. Maybe James mistook a shadow for a stain? I hurried back to the table, expecting the main dish to be served soon. Welcome back. I ordered drinks for us. Yours too. Thank you. Wait, is this a cocktail? Yes. I found a cocktail that I thought you'd like. What do you think? It's nice of you, but remember, we decided not to drink alcohol today because of the wedding tomorrow. Did we? But one drink should be fine, right? Please try it, it's special. Reluctantly, I took a sip. The cocktail had a beautiful gradient of orange and yellow. A refreshing taste with orange flavor, not too sweet, and a hint of herbs. Delicious. Not too sweet, with a refreshing herbal taste. You really know my preferences, James. I knew you'd say that. You think I don't know what you like? My apologies. What are you drinking? This? It's also a cocktail, but I think it's a flavor you wouldn't like. Really? Usually, James would offer me to taste his drink, but this time, he subtly refused. After a leisurely meal, we returned to our room. And I was suddenly overcome with extreme sleepiness. I had wanted to enjoy the suite more, but I couldn't resist the urge to sleep and collapsed on the bed. Sorry, I'm really sleepy. I'll just take a shower and go to bed early. Understood. You've been busy with the wedding preparations lately. Rest well for tomorrow's big day. It was quite early, before 8 p.m., when I went to bed. When I suddenly woke up and tried to get up, I heard voices. At first, I thought James was on the phone, but then I felt a slight headache. I went to grab some headache medicine from my pouch and felt something was off. Could there be someone else in the room? But who? This suite was provided by the hotel for just the two of us. It seemed odd that someone else would be present. Really? Is it okay? Your wife is sleeping, right? It's fine, she won't wake up for a while. We have 2 bedrooms in the suite, so she won't notice. Is that so? Then we must enjoy ourselves to the fullest. I heard a woman's voice clearly, realizing this wasn't a phone call. Another woman was in the suite with James. I remembered the hotel staff mentioning that the suite had 2 bedrooms. Clutching my aching head, I quietly took my phone and headed towards the other bedroom. I captured their affair on my newly purchased smartphone for our honeymoon. The latest model captured their actions clearly in the dark. It was 9:30 p.m. Thinking it was still early enough to act, I recorded a video and quickly contacted someone after returning to my bed. I contacted my parents, my in-laws, and James' boss. Grateful that I had their numbers from a previous gathering, I sent the video of their affair to them with a message. My parents and in-laws replied immediately, saying they would come to the room to talk. However, I anticipated the worst-case scenario. A sudden confrontation might lead James to deny everything. A well-planned approach might cause more damage in the long run. I asked my parents and in-laws, who were also staying at the hotel, to wait for me in the elevator hall on the suite floor. As I looked around the bedroom, I noticed that James's and his mistress's clothes were carelessly discarded near the bed. I carefully gathered them and locked them away in a nearby safe. I locked the safe haphazardly, making sure they couldn't retrieve their clothes. The suite's large size worked in my favor, as neither of them noticed me awake. All I could hear from the bedroom where they were enjoying themselves were James's and his mistress's voices. They were oblivious to the fact that I was awake, that their affair had been discovered, and that both sets of parents were on their way to the room. After moving my belongings, I hid in a closet near the door and started fiddling with my phone. Hiding in the closet, I played the sound of a fire alarm at high volume from my phone. Hey, is that a siren from outside? What's that noise? Hey. That's the sound of a fire alarm. Is the hotel on fire? No. I don't want to die yet. It's okay. I won't let you die. They panicked and rushed out of the room. After confirming they had run a few meters down the hallway, I closed the door and overheard their conversation from outside. Wait, isn't it a fire? But we just heard the sound of a fire alarm, right? It seemed they had finally realized what was happening. Hey, James, what's with that outfit? And who's that girl next to you? That's not Kathy, is it? Who is she? What? The fire? What are you talking about, being half asleep? Do you realize how you look? Realizing their situation, the two of them began to panic. Noticing their undignified state of just holding towels, surrounded by both sets of parents. What's this? James, what's going on? I don't know. Did you deceive me? Having my parents and in-laws waiting by the elevator was the right move. And why are my dad and mom here? And Kathy's parents too? Didn't you know? As family, we were staying at the hotel on the eve of the wedding. What? I didn't know the family was staying at the hotel. Anyway, sort yourself out first. We'll talk after that.
Ha!
Yes, you're right. Sorry, I'll just go back to the room for my clothes. He tried to enter the room, but couldn't due to the auto lock. James frustratingly rattled the door handle, but there was no way he could open it from the outside. My phone. I can open it from inside. Wait, sorry, just a moment, please. Wait, James. Our phones are inside, right? What are we going to do? That's bad. Hey. Kathy. You're in there, right? Are you awake? Open the door, please. Hearing that James had drugged me to sleep made me even angrier. How could he say, "Are you awake?" Open the door, after making me sleep? I checked through the peephole to see James in a flustered state. Almost naked, before opening the door. You didn't know your parents and mine were staying at this hotel? Of course, you wouldn't. You left all the wedding and honeymoon preparations to me. Hey. You knew and didn't tell me? I did tell you that our parents would be staying on a different floor. Maybe you didn't listen because you were always so dismissive. I thought so. Then the mistress started making a fuss. But now. Let us in the room. Do you realize the situation? Excuse me, but who might you be? You were having fun in the bedroom with James, right? Panicked and ran out when you heard the fire alarm, and now caught cheating, right? I'm Alyssa, dating James. Lady, you know what's going on, so let us in the room, please. Well, please come in. Now, Dad, Mom, and also father-in-law and mother-in-law, please come in. I invited both sets of parents into the room. Hey. My parents have nothing to do with this. That's not true, is it? We need an explanation. Kathy, sorry, but we're coming in. Yes, please come in. I also want to resolve this matter here and now. As they entered, James and Alyssa rushed to the bed to look for their clothes. Where are the clothes? No, my clothes are gone too. James, do you know? How would I know? Damn. So we're supposed to stay naked? Right. There were bathrobes in this room. At least we can wear those. They hurried to the bathroom, but it was too late. I had already taken the bathrobes and large towels while they were busy. No way, the bathrobes are gone? Hey. There are no bath towels either. No clothes, no towels, what's going on? I stood in front of them holding the bathrobes. Looking for these bathrobes? Hey. Hand them over. I'm starting to get cold. I'm cold, lady, give them to us, please. Ignoring their clamor, I walked into the bathroom with the two robes. The bathroom was left as they enjoyed it, with the bathtub full of water. But I submerged the robes in it. Hey. What are you doing? What are you doing to us, lady? Telling us to stay naked. People like you don't deserve anything in this room. Why don't you stay naked quietly? The two of them seemed to resign themselves and fell silent. Now, Kathy and James, and you. Alyssa, was it? Let's hear what you have to say. Surrounded by my parents and his in-laws, James looked smaller than I had ever seen. It was just a fling before the wedding, a bit of fun. That's a lie. James, you said we'd go on a honeymoon together. You were going to divorce after the wedding and then be with me. That was just a slip of the tongue. You should know the difference between a joke and seriousness. A joke, huh? Kathy told me that you hadn't been involved in the wedding or honeymoon preparations. And you've been coming home late every night. No. Work has been busy. James then whispered to me in a low voice. Hey, you've been ratting on me to your family? Don't you trust your husband? Telling on me, that's a dirty move. Who's playing dirty? Working overtime for just 7 hours. 7 hours of overtime? Kathy, what do you mean? My mother-in-law asked, looking puzzled. About 2 or 3 months before the wedding, James's return home suddenly became late. He said it was overtime, but his payslip showed single-digit overtime hours, around 7 hours every month. Coming home late at night with just 7 hours of overtime? That's strange. Still talking about that. Not all overtime hours get approved, you know? That's common knowledge for a salaryman. James was waving his hands frantically, his face red. Maybe it's time to be honest? I later asked James's company, and they said he's been leaving work on time every day for the wedding preparations. Could it be that he finished work on time and then? Yes, that's exactly what happened. He didn't come home after work, left all the wedding and honeymoon preparations to me, and spent his time enjoying himself with his mistress. Glancing at them, I noticed the in-laws had expressions like angry demons. James, have you even thought about Kathy? Betraying someone who loved you, and you feel nothing about it? This betrayal is unforgivable. No, you shouldn't apologize, Mother. Then, my father slowly asked a question. James, if you were going to cheat, shouldn't you have just not married in the first place? Did you cheat because you prefer Alyssa here? No, it was just a moment of weakness. Lies. James said to me, my wife works at the city office and won't get fired. She'll always have an income. I wouldn't choose an old maid like her otherwise. You told me that. Hearing James's true thoughts from Alyssa's mouth, I couldn't help but sigh. James, now that it's like this, marry me. I can cook and I'll be a good wife. That's ridiculous. Alyssa, weren't you saying you're going to become an influencer? And not renewing your contract at my company? An influencer housewife? That sounds great. I don't care about being an influencer or whatever. I can't marry a woman who's just trying to leech off me. Listening to this ridiculous exchange between the two naked fools was giving me a headache. For the record, I'm not working just to support James. And I can't continue this marriage after such an incident. We're getting a divorce. Can't you reconsider? The wedding is tomorrow, and my boss is here. We can't just cancel it now, can we? He was still only thinking about himself even in this situation. Reconsider? No way. Do you even realize what you've done? I'm sorry, let's make up and start over, okay? Seeing James's behavior, my father intervened. Start over? Are you treating your marriage to my daughter like a game? Exactly. You think you can just apologize and reset everything when you're in trouble? It doesn't work like that. Eventually, the wedding scheduled for the next day was cancelled. And naturally, James was responsible for the cancellation fees. Alyssa had been aggressively pursuing James, apparently wanting to get married before turning 26, but James was planning to break up with her. The cancellation of the wedding and James' usual behavior at the company had already sparked rumors about his affair with Alyssa, a temporary employee. James was called into the office to discuss the recent commotion and his relationship with Alyssa. Despite his attempts to deny it, testimonies and eyewitness accounts exposed everything. As a result, James was transferred to a regional branch, but he couldn't stand it and resigned. However, his job search wasn't going well, his reputation preceded him, and he was being rejected in interviews. Alyssa didn't renew her contract and boldly started her activities as an influencer. Unfortunately, the internet is a tough place, and she was quickly labeled as a mistress. Recently, she's been posting online, desperately trying to gain attention and earn money. Even if it means igniting controversies, becoming a notorious figure of the times. One day, while I was handling customer service at the office, Alyssa came to the counter and started yelling. I came here because I heard James said you work here. It's your fault I can't work as an influencer. What can I help you with today? If there's no specific matter, I must ask you to leave. You're the one, aren't you? Writing about affairs and adultery online. You're living off our taxes and writing such things on that computer. I'm not aware of such things. Please, don't cause trouble for others. I signaled and called the security guard. Luckily, working in a department with frequent complaints, security quickly came to my aid. Let me go. I have business with this lady. This is a municipal office. If you continue to disturb others, we may have to call the police. I dealt with the situation calmly and as usual. I never thought my training in handling complaints would come in handy in such a situation. After that, Alyssa stopped visiting me, which was a relief. I continued working at the city office. It's busy with work every day. But being busy helps me forget about the divorce and the whole debacle. One day, an old friend from university contacted me, wanting to introduce me to someone. Apparently, we both like the same cartoon artist, so we might get along well. It's rare to find someone who knows that cartoon, so I was surprised. This friend knows my tastes and interests. So if they recommend meeting someone, I definitely want to try. After what happened with James, I wondered what would become of my life. But now, with work and new encounters, every day is fulfilling.